Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Podcast. I'm Ben, that's Josh, and we are here in April. We're recording this on the 31st of March. I probably shouldn't put it out tomorrow because then people are going to think it's a joke. But no, this is being April Fool's. But no, we are excited to be with you. Also, happy Easter. It's going to be Easter weekend this weekend. It's very early this year. But happy Easter. Hope you get to spend some time with family. I know here in Hungary, it's a 4-day weekend. Really, nothing's open. It's just a great time to spend with family and friends. So, yeah. So I just, yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting time, Josh. It's the end of the Final Four is happening. We have baseball's underway. But before we get into that, Josh, how is it going over there in the great state of Ohio?
Hmm. We've been up and down in temperature, and actually, just a couple minutes before we started recording, we just had a pretty big thunderstorm started
Wow.
coming down. We just had some heavy thunder. I don't know if it was heavy or loud enough to get picked up by the mic, but
Yeah,
yeah, you know how them April showers go, but it's
it's
still
true.
March, so
Yeah,
I guess this is a little madness
yeah.
going on right now.
I like that. I like the play on words. Josh, my weekend, as you can see right behind me, there's the Bulldogs Bulldog shirt there. We had our first game against a foe that I know too well from my old team when they beat us in the championship a couple years ago. But we came out close game. We ended up winning 52-22. At one point, it was 45 to like 14 at one point. Yeah, just dominant fashion. Played great. You're gonna love this, Josh. We had four interceptions, a forced fumble. We had almost kick return. Took a kick return back to like the 45-yard line. Um, our quarterback ran for 140. Our running back ran for 170. Uh, Quarterback also threw for two touchdowns. We had a challenge that we won. We threw a challenge flag. We won the challenge. It's a new rule. It was kind of fun, kind of cool. Yeah, it was full. It was a great game. Great way to start for sure.
Yeah, sounds like it. Also, great starts to the season came from our baseball teams
That's true.
that reside in the great state of Ohio. So I'll lead into this by saying just a little bit of discussion about the rookies. Ben and I got some topics we want to discuss just about the
It's a
opening
baseball
weekend in
topic, by the
baseball.
way, everyone. It's going to be a
Yes,
baseball podcast this week. This week.
mostly baseball focused. We'll get into the Final Four and the rest of the men's basketball tournament at the end, but we actually have some stuff to celebrate in Ohio
Hmm.
because it came out yesterday that Chase DeLauder and Sal Stewart were named Players of the Week, American League and National League. And notice I didn't say Rookies of the Week, I said players because these guys just straight up
We're tearing it
balled
up.
to start the season out. So let me read some of these numbers that'll pop to you guys. Chase DeLauder, 4 home runs, 1,412 OPS against the Seattle
Jeez.
Mariners. That's one of the hardest stadiums to hit in against one of the best pitching staffs against a team that was one game away from making the World Series last year. That was what Chase DeLauder did. His rookie of the year odds, Ben. I didn't check this for Sal Stewart, but they started at plus 1,400. They are currently now, I believe, plus 1,300.
Mm.
So he made some nice progress. A lot of people, know who Chase DeLauder is now, but Sal Stewart, I think, is leading the National League in batting average right now because he went 7 for 10 in his first weekend, has an OPS of 2,069. Uh, that's just the performances that we saw from a couple of the rookies, but I'll let you talk more into what you like from South Stewart. You mentioned him being maybe dark horse
Yeah.
rookie of the year for you, but there's also other guys out in the National League that we'll get to, like JJ Weatherholt and Nolan McLean,
Yeah.
and of course Connor Griffin, who still hasn't been called up that people had been talking about. But there's a good chance that South Stewart might end up being the best hitter this Cincinnati team's got.
Yeah. It is. It's it's just wild to me because Sal Stewart, he's been a good prospect. He's been a guy that we've looked at as Reds fans. We've kind of seen that. We saw him last year get a few at bats. I think we've been so starstruck in Cincinnati by Ellie De La Cruz that I think because Ellie is such a freak of nature. He's 6'6". He's got speed, power. He's got a cannon of an arm. I feel like and I hate to say this, I'm gonna have a lot of Reds fans real mad when I say this.
Hmm.
I worry that Ellie is slowly becoming an O'Neal Cruz. Like I'm worried that he's becoming this guy that's going to end up being a hit or miss. He'll have some good games. I believe truly, and I've told my dad this, that I think Ellie needs to switch left-handed just to left-handed because he can't hit right-handed to save his life. Like he's absolutely terrible. Um, Again, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because if you look at what Stewart is doing, he's doing it against off-speed pitches, fastballs, guys that throw cannons up there, guys that are slower thrown up there, guys that pitch him outside, pitch him inside. He's taking walks. When was the last time you saw Ellie De La Cruz take like 3 walks in a game? You don't, because he so wants to get on base, right? He totally wants to run. And again, I'm not saying Ellie's not worth it, but I'm saying this now, and again, a bold statement that I might regret in a few weeks, and maybe I will. If I had to decide between two guys to lock up long term, I would do what, if we look what the Mariners did, they just signed their rookie who is not even played. Actually, not even a rookie. He's still a minor leaguer to a $95 million deal that can go up to $130 million. I say you lock up Sal Stewart now. I He doesn't have a big agent. He's not a guy that's going. That's the problem with Ellie De La Cruz. He has the biggest agent out in the market, right? So for me, I just love what he's doing. I mean, for instance, he's the second major league rookie since 1958 to reach base safely 3+ times in each of his team's first 4 games. So they just had a win against the Pirates yesterday. So the first 4 games, he's reached three safely 3 straight times. All right, 3 times. He's gotten on base 13 times this year, 8 hits, 5 walks. Mike Trout's the only other person that's done that. The craziest part about the whole thing with Sal Stewart is I think people overlook him because he's not a freak. He's a guy who was a second baseman, but he's obviously was a heavier guy, and so they lost some weight. They thought maybe we'll put him at third, but then you sign Juan Torres. So then you're like, okay, we also have a Gold Glover over there at third base. So what do? You put him at first, but we got Spencer Steer. But I think what Sal Stewart proved in spring training and what he's proved now is that he's legit. Josh, he took a pitch on the hands and hit it out of the ballpark. A pitch that was literally on his hands, dead center, out of the ballpark. To me, it's just the guy has power. He's not a great runner. He's never going to burn people, but he's a guy that's just he's just so good. And I wonder when Reds fans are going to switch the whole like Ellie allegiance and go, Ellie's great. We'll keep him for the next 4 or 5 years, but Sal's our guy, and that's what I'm curious to see. And again, I just love to see what he's doing. I hope he can keep it up. Unfortunately, as a Reds fans, we've seen this a few times with Jonathan India, who won Rookie of the Year. We've seen this with McLean, who's had really good years, and then they kind of slide off. So I'm hoping this can be a pattern to succeed. And I think having Eugenio Suarez in the locker room really helps.
Yeah, hopefully it can be a mainstay. I don't think Ellie will ever fall totally to O'Neal because he does have the effort and the
Yeah.
defense on his side. But as far as hitting a rocket or swinging and missing, you're not really getting a whole lot in between. I think that much could be true about Ellie, but I would love to see him switch all the way left too. But we'll keep this on the rookies for now. We'll get into the series more
Yeah.
broadly from the Tribe and the Reds. But other rookies that balled out, I already mentioned Weatherholt. He had a walk-off in his first series. He also had a home run in one of his first few at-bats. He had a 872 OPS that opening weekend. Kazuma Okamoto from the Blue
Hmm.
Jays, one of the bigger signings from Japan, 4 of 12, 1012 OPS. Uh, Murakami from the White Sox, that was a guy that people weren't
Stud, dude.
sure
That dude's a
how
stud.
consistent he'd be because of the strikeout rate, but he also has 3 home runs or hit 3 home runs in his first 3 games. Chase DeLauder hit 4 in his first 3. Those two are like joined with 2 or 3 other rookies to do that. I think Story, Trevor Story was another one, if I remember
Yeah.
right. But elite company, or not, I shouldn't say
Yeah.
elite company because you read
Aridis
some of the names and you're
Aquino
like,
for the
who are these guys?
Reds.
But
Yeah.
a rare company.
Yeah, Aquino for the Reds, I think like 4 or 5 years ago. Dude's like, by the way, in the Mexican League now, but he hit like
Hmm.
14 home runs in his first 20 games or something like that. Ridiculous.
Kevin McGonigal was another nice one. That was from the
Yeah.
Tigers. I think
He
he
had a
went
great
four for
opening day.
five. Yeah, I think he went 4 for 5 in that first game. He went 5 for 12 overall with a 1045 OPS. Made some nice plays on defense too. I'll dive in a little more on Chase though. I mean, you see him swing the bat, and it's like this weird looking half swing where he's got his hands like up
Yeah.
in like this almost, and you're like, how does he just hit lasers like that? But he did, and like I said, he did it also against one of the best pitching staffs and one of the best pitcher-friendly ballparks in the bigs. So it makes you think like, okay, obviously he's not going to hit 175 home runs this
Yeah.
season, but you could fairly well predict that he's going to be a mainstay in this lineup this year. If he's already hitting like that against pitchers like this, I mean, right now we're going against the Dodgers. Now he's going to bring up Parker Messick, also Cleveland's fifth starter. Came onto the scene last year in the last month of the season to eat some innings, but I think he might be doing a lot more than just innings eating this year. Through 6 shutout innings against the Dodgers, Ben, the almighty Los Angeles Dodgers, and their $5 billion salary allowed 5 hits, no runs, and I think that is also the second 6 inning, 0 runs allowed start that he's had in his short career so far. There's other guys that uh, came onto the scene last year, like Cam Schlittler, pitcher for the Yankees. I think went 5 1/3 with 8 strikeouts, no runs allowed. Nolan McLean from the Mets, probably the one of the heavier favorites for National League Rookie of the Year, went I think 5 2/3 and 2 runs allowed. So looking nice on the mound over there. And like I said, we haven't even seen Connor Griffin come up. We haven't seen Trey Savage make his season debut yet. But this rookie class is awesome. And I know last year we did a segment trying to pick our
Hmm.
23 and under teams. And, just a couple more months of watching these guys, we might want to make some adjustments to that roster that we made. But it's just great seeing baseball have all these nice young players coming into the game, making impacts, and just looks like baseball overall, from even looking at viewership of the World Baseball Classic, is in such a good spot right now. I think you could definitely make the case they've overtaken the NBA for the second most popular, most watched
Oh, for sure.
league in the country at least, or even worldwide if you want to bring up. I'm sure people in Japan and around the Caribbean, everybody are tuning into the product that we got right now.
Yeah, I really think it's something that's again, you look at the rookies, I think it's the next generation, right? Like we had our generation, a few times growing up, the Buster Posies, a lot of these guys when we were kids that, really were the mainstays and were young guys coming up. And, we saw Lindor when he was younger. We saw Aaron Judge and all these guys, but now it's a new batch, right? You have a lot of guys retiring or near the end of their careers. The Freddie Freemans, the Mookie Betts, the Giancarlo Stantons, the Mike Trouts. Like guys are getting closer to the end of their career. Now you have new guys coming up, and I think it's fun to see it. Now that I'm older, I can kind of view that as like an awesome thing to see. And again, um, it's really funny because we were talking about Sal Stewart, but another guy, another rookie, Stephen Kwan from a few years ago, like 4 years ago now, you know, he kind of had the same similar start to Sal Stewart. And again, it's just cool to see how things translate and open up. And again, yeah, I mean, there's just so much going on right now.
Yeah, this batch of new talent coming in definitely helps. I think even some of the changes that we were initially resistant to, like the pitch clock, and we'll see how the ABS does. But I think those things are making the game a little bit more quick and a little more enjoyable for maybe the more casual fan. I know you wanted to talk about ABS, and I know
Yes.
it had it's
Yeah.
I guess hits or misses. I think a couple things that I learned myself is that even if only 1/10,000th of the ball is touching the strike zone, that means it's a strike, as long as it
Yeah.
catches somewhere in that strike zone. But also, position players cannot be challenged. Didn't know
Yeah.
that either. And then there's that one guy that got overturned 5 of 5 times.
Oh,
I
I
can't
can talk
remember
about that
which.
because that's a red series. I can talk about
Okay,
that.
yeah, that was the Red Series. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that was crazy
So
getting
I
overturned that much. But yeah,
I
I'll let you turn it,
yeah.
take your turn on that.
No. Yeah. So I want to talk about ABS because I think it's for old heads like me, right? I mean, I'm not that old, but old heads like me. I really did not like the idea of this, right? I think part of the fun of the game, like even if as crappy as some of these, umps can be, it adds that like unknowingness of what's going to happen, right? My worry was always that they're going to rely so much on this system that it's going to end up becoming what they'd use, and then it's going to take away the true human element of the game. And so after watching this weekend, I think one, it's just funny how Eugenio Suarez, who strikes out about 200 times a year, has the best eye for calling out when a strike is not a strike, which is just funny to me because this dude strike is going to strike out probably not 200 times this year. I'm like, well, then why can't you get more walks, buddy? Which he does walk a lot, but like yeah, this weekend, CBA Buckner he called a pitch and Suarez was like, nah, it was going to be strike three. It was a full count. Says no, looks over it. He's like, all right, they're going to review the play. But the best part is the very next pitch, same thing. He got, and the CBA Buckner just looks so mad. But I'm like, dude, your strike zone was terrible. Like both
Yeah.
sides were getting it, the same way. My only concern with it, and this is kind of my opinion, is I feel like the fact that we're firing coaches over this now is just getting ridiculous. Saw someone bring this up, and I think it's absolutely golden and genius, and I hope they do it. That if a talk call gets overturned and there's a disagreement, that instead of the coach getting ejected, it should be the umpire getting ejected for screwing up the call. So I think it's genius. I don't think it'll ever happen, but again, those are my thoughts. I do agree with you. I think the 1/10 of an inch is kind of ridiculous. Like I feel like it has to be at least half the ball, or maybe
Yeah,
a
if like
quarter, or maybe a quarter.
99.99% of the balls out of the
Like
strike zone, it
yeah,
should be
like
a
if it's a
ball.
quarter, I feel like that should be what maybe more a quarter. But again, kind of wild, I guess.
Yeah. I think that the rules that they got in place for it now, I think you get two challenges that you can fail, but if you keep getting them right, then you obviously maintain your challenges. Like
Yeah.
in I think football with
Yeah.
challenges, like if you succeed, you get a little bit more extra. And it didn't look like there was too much discussion about the flow of the game being disrupted or anything like
No.
that. I think
I think it
there's
adds
just some
entertainment. I think it adds entertainment. I think people are excited for it. I mean, you saw the Reds fans are cheering when the guy got it wrong. Like it's just
yeah.
fun.
It happened relatively quick enough, just like in a tennis match when you make a challenge, and it was, just a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
I think that they're gonna have to work out some of the quirks though. Like I would like to see, like we already said, if the more the ball has to get caught. Timing, I guess. Like if you don't do it fast enough, you miss your chance. And then if you start, I know Josh Bell had the one where he took a ball for and basically trotted all the way down to first base, and then their opponent challenged,
Yeah.
and then we're right, and it's like I thought you couldn't wait so long, and then just a couple other things like that. So figure like just see some consistency, I guess, on the timing of all that. Make the ball have to catch the strike zone a little bit
Mhm.
more, but I don't think this is going to be something that overtakes the game entirely because I do think umpires, out of all the professional sports, do the best officiating, got the best
Yeah.
eyes. I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of situations where umpires are getting overturned 5 out of 5 times or 10 out of 10
No.
times or anything ridiculous like that. But it could be something, like we said, we like the human element of the game, but it looks like it's going to be quick enough and I guess stop the egregious calls at
Yeah.
least. Like we had that one female umpire have one that basically went right down the middle, and you're like, why are you calling that a ball? Like, let's
Yeah.
not have stuff like this, please. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's the ABS. Let's open this more broadly into how we feel our teams have started this year because you had a lot of exciting stuff about the Reds to talk about, I think, besides Sal
Yeah.
Stewart and just watching the way that they played the Red Sox, a team that we could see contending out in the American League
Mhm.
East. A lot of names on that roster that are exciting. A lot of names on the Reds. It sounds like could be exciting too with
Mhm.
some of the ones you threw out there. McLean looked like he maintained his production from spring training. Eugenio Suarez, had some nice swings, and we already mentioned Sal Stewart. So yeah, tell me how you think the Reds started this season off, Ben.
Uh, I'm a little shocked to be honest with you because when you don't have Hunter Green, you don't have Nick Lodolo, you have some would say that Abbott is your number one guy. I mean, I still think Hunter Green just has when he's healthy, he's the best guy on that rotation. You lose both those guys for Hunter Green till mid June and Lodolo for at least a week. We'll see when he comes back. I was like, man, I mean, Abbott, I thought for sure if any of the, I thought if they do go maybe 1-3 or 2-2, the Abbott would be the game they win for sure, right? That's the one they get beat pretty badly. Um, but then you had some great starts by Singer. And then yesterday, even over the Pirates, Chase Burns comes in there and didn't allow a hit until the fifth, through 5 innings, 7 Ks, only pitched 78 pitches. I hate the quick pull. I'm sorry. I know we're trying to watch innings, but I just absolutely I hate when they're pitching well and you pull them out. It's just annoying. Um, yeah, what the biggest surprise for me, and I've said this when we talked about it this afternoon, is the just the pitching is a surprising start. Now the hitting's been really weak. It's just not been good. Actually, I have one of the guys I follow on Facebook. He actually talks about this, and let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. So the Reds are. I want to hear your thoughts on this too, Josh, because it's very interesting to me. They're averaging about 2.7 runs a game, which is 27th in Major League Baseball. They're only hitting 194 as a team, which is 25th. MLB average is about 233 right now. But yet
Mm.
the Reds lead the MLB in exit velocity with 92 miles per hour. What that
Thanks,
tells
Ellie De La
me,
Cruz.
yeah. I mean, what that tells me is just they're hitting the ball very hard. Now, it might get a little unlucky. I mean, Suarez has hit some rockets. He hit that big 3-1 homer to beat the Red Sox. That's the pop they've needed. And I think Sal Stewart's also going to get that pop. You know, they did not have right-handed power at all last year. So it's interesting because the pitching is what really caught me off guard. They are fourth in staff ERA with 237. Starters have the fifth best starting, by the way, without their two best guys at 225. Their bullpen at 250. Uh, the crazy part is that Tito has gone to the bullpen 18 times. Like it's crazy to me. Like it doesn't seem the same Reds, I guess, just the way that the pitching's actually being successful. Outside of that first game when the bullpen kind of cost some things, but overall, I'm very happy. I would like to see the bats start turn around. I mean, my dad called it. McLean, of course, is struggling. Um, it's just what happens when a guy is raking in spring training. They usually struggle early on. So I'll be interested to see what happens. But I am more positive than I thought. I think if they can get on a run here, get a good record, it will allow them to kind of maybe rest some guys every once in a while, and just get out to a good start. But again, South Stewart's leading the way. Ellie's starting to heat up. Some other guys are starting to heat up as well. So hopefully the pitching keeps it going.
Yeah, and over here in Cleveland, we talked about the start of the season that they were going to have with the Mariners and the Dodgers, and then getting home for the Cubs and the Royals, and how difficult that was going to be. Like, that's quite a gauntlet to get through, especially those first two series. But Cleveland's 3-2 right now and in first place in the AL Central somehow, some way. It wasn't always the prettiest games. Chase DeLauter has 4 home runs, yes, but he only has 5 RBIs, and that's because Stephen Kwan didn't start off the season all
Yeah.
that great, but has since recovered, leads the team in batting average now at 318. Uh, Now going through some of the other individual performances over here so far. Rhys Hoskins in limited action has hit 429. That might be a guy that they have to make a mostly everyday player. Uh, Jose, starting off a little cold. He's hitting 143, but I mean, that's one of the most consistent players in the league.
Yeah.
We trust that he's going to be just fine. But yeah, as far as I guess on look for the season, if you can, get what you have from Stephen Kwan and Jose Ramirez, you got this nice pop from the bat of Chase DeLauter. You have a guy that can just, maintain like average offense, like Rhys Hoskins. I mean, Cleveland didn't really have a whole lot of guys like that. That's how they finished with a -6 run differential, but the pitching's so good and they heat up at the end, they
Yeah.
somehow still make the playoffs. Just another hopefully average bat there, hopefully. I'm not even like asking for anything crazy. And let's see some more consistency from Kyle Manzardo too. Let's stop the platooning action. Let's get him against some lefties and let's get this guy a 30 home run season. You
Yeah.
you look at that, the possibility of Travis Bazzana being called up. It's like, okay, this is a lot of ifs, but at the end of the day, that is a lineup that you could be looking at and be like, you know what? maybe we don't have to throw seven shutout innings every time our pitchers make a start because we're stringing some hits together and scoring runs, the typical guard ball way. But we also got, a handful of guys with pop in the lineup that you have, maybe four or five bats that could go up and hit a home run, and we haven't had that in quite a while in Cleveland. Starting pitching wise, I already mentioned Parker Messick. That was one that I would have liked to have seen him gone farther because he only had, I think, 76 pitches in those six shutout
Hmm.
innings. That would have been, either way, it's still a great start for the rookie.
Hmm.
We had some of our top arms struggle. Bybee left, I think, in the middle of the fifth, and then it turned out that he had, I think it was inflammation, either his shoulder or elbow. So he might be going to the IL here soon enough. And then Gavin Williams got, I think, tagged pretty good too. Let me check what his output was. Yeah, he left with 5 innings, 3 earned runs. I think they had some unearned runs in that one too, if I remember right. But Gab's who I expect to be our ace. Not the greatest first start, and Chaconi also the same deal. 6 earned runs and 4 1/3. So starting pitching, that was definitely a big question mark that I had, but love seeing what I saw from Parker Messick. And we did have some offense that ended up getting us some enough runs that we didn't need the elite pitching. So that'd be nice too if we don't, like I said, we don't need seven shutout innings from our starter. We can get by with maybe
Hmm.
3 innings and six or 3 runs in 6 innings or something like that. So
Hmm.
like I said, it's early, but there's a couple things on this Cleveland team that I guess I'm surprised by, other things that I expected. But overall, we there's not too many teams that have had a more difficult start to the year than us. And
Hmm.
also, what's been difficult, Ben, is watching some of these teams because, at least from the Mariners side, they have had their first 5 games be played on 4 different networks. So while the MLB TV package is great and all that, and you think, wow, I can watch all my in-market games, and then you find out that there's not a whole lot of in-market games because you're playing games on Apple TV and you're playing games on Peacock and you're playing games on TBS, and then you finally
Hmm.
get some on the Mariners TV network. And I mean, Cleveland obviously was involved in that first series, so we were affected a little bit by that. Don't know how if the Reds have been all local yet to start the year, but it's
Dad
to the
said it's been
point.
hard to find him. Dad said he couldn't even watch in the first weekend. Like he had to, he might, I think he was going to be able to get part of the game unless he got a package. He would get, I think, one game this Pirate
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, I have the MLB TV package plus Guardians TV to guarantee me all the games that are on MLB Network, but also all the in-market Cleveland games. And we'll see how many I actually get to watch this year. I don't know the full
Mm.
broadcast schedule, but it's to the point now in streaming and sports, Ben, that Bedlam B can make a joke like this. The MLB announces that they will play every inning on a different streaming platform, and it had, first inning
Jeez.
Hulu, second inning Peacock, third inning TBS, fourth inning Fox Sports, and it's like, man, dude, what happened to the days where you could just turn the TV
Turn it
on and
on,
watch your
man.
team? Like, why are we making it difficult for the fans? Like this difficult for the fans to watch their teams? Like we got to be subscribed to, you know, 6 different, I guess, services. And then at that point, it's like, why don't I have cable? But then again, you don't have cable because not all the games are even on there now anyway. And it's just
Hmm.
increasingly more difficult for fans to just watch their favorite teams.
Exactly. It is frustrating, but uh, I mean, I'm used to living over here, so I haven't really been able to catch a lot of games live in general. So it doesn't really affect me as much. But I do get it because when I was back home and I always want to watch it for sure.
hmm So Cleveland and Cincinnati, maybe some more surprising starts than we expected as fans of those teams. Ben, I know you had a team that you wanted to talk
Yeah.
about that's maybe been a surprise amongst the national landscape. A team
Yeah.
that I think has been young and building up close to something to
Yeah.
definitely finish the year hot. But go ahead and talk about who do you got that
The
started the weekend off
yeah,
undefeated?
the Miami Marlins.
The
Now,
Marlins.
a caveat here. They did play the Rockies their first 3 games. So how real is it? We'll see. Because as soon as they played the White Sox, who are also trash, they lost 9-4. So I might have been proven wrong now that I'm talking about it. But I will say this. I do think that the Marlins are a team that I think has been playing really, really well. Trying to find the what I was looking at earlier. Uh, but the nice thing is about the Miami Marlins is that I think they give you a team that um, is young. Like we've talked about it, they're young. Like I'm looking at their roster right now. Their starting pitch, all their pitchers were all born. The oldest one is was born in '93.
Was that Alcantara?
No, it was Pete Fairbanks is born in '93.
Hmm.
Their whole starting lineup, everyone was born in like from 1997. There's one guy born in 1997, one guy born in 1998. The rest were all born in 2000. So they're a young group, but they're a group that is, I think, very hungry, and I think a group that can really make some differences in the NL East. And I even look at stat wise, if I can find the stats here, but right now you have one, two, three, four, five. Oh, wait, sorry, four. Yeah, five dudes hitting 286 or higher right now. And again, it's a short sample size, but again, it's just they're they're not doing anything crazy, right? They don't have any guys hitting 10 home runs already, but it's just the consistent like play that I've been able to see and just even watch them against the Rockies. It's like they own the Rockies. It's a team they should beat. It's like that kind of attitude. And again, I think that really helps in the long run. But yeah, the Miami Marlins, my surprise team right now. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, yeah, we did get to see some of these guys come out last year when they ended the year hot. Like you said, that division is difficult when you got to go against the Mets and you got to go against the Phillies, and if the Braves are ever healthy, you're there, can
Hmm.
be right in that mix too. But it's a young squad. They've hit on definitely a lot of their guys like Xavier Edwards and Griffin Conine and Kyle Stowers and
Hmm.
Augustin Ramirez. Like there's enough guys there that if they can, live up to what they've been been talking about doing, it could be an exciting lineup for sure. And then you go to the pitching side, and it's like, can Sandy Alcantara return anywhere close to that, Cy Young potential that he had, a while ago? Can Lake Barker or Baker, I think is his name, continue the promising stuff he showed as a rookie? And then like you said, there's just a lot of young guys on this team. We'll see if that ends up being something that flames out because it was just the Rockies, but a fun team to watch that first weekend either way, and even probably most games is going to be fun because of all the young names on that squad. Maybe a team that isn't so surprising with how they started off is the Toronto Blue Jays. Of course, they were in the World Series last year. They win the American League. Uh, And yeah, they got, a lot of big bats on that squad. I know Andres Gimenez, I think, is still top five in the American League in batting average. That's maybe catching some people off guard. And they got all the names, like Vlad and
Yeah.
Springer and Alejandro Kirk. But the pitching, while also is solid, is what caught my attention this weekend because you just got so many arms that just were dealing. Like, start off with Dylan Cease, one of your big
Mhm.
offseason acquisitions, comes out here in his first start and throws five and a third, allows just one run, strikes out 12, Ben.
Ooh.
Going down to Kevin Gossman next, you got, I believe his was, yes, 6 innings, one earned run, which came on a solo shot, and that was the only hit he allowed. And then he also strikes out 11 guys.
Yeah.
Then you get down to Eric Lauer at the third start, and you're like, man, can this dominance can it continue? And yes, it can because he went five and a third, allowed two earned runs, and struck out nine himself. Like you look through all the strikeout leaders in the American League, and it's basically just Blue Jay, Blue Jay, Blue Jay, Blue Jay. And this isn't even with Shane Bieber back in the rotation yet, but this is a squad, or not a squad, I should say, but a rotation. That also includes Cody Ponce, someone that might be on looking at like the up and up, or maybe coming back from what he used to be. Like could be a rotation that's just once again scary in the American League.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with the Blue Jays because who would have thought 5 years ago that the Blue Jays would be, the team? But I don't trust the Yankees long term. Not with Aaron Boone so their manager. The Red Sox, I saw them against the Reds. They were very hit or miss. Um, we don't really know about the Rays too much in the sense right now, but again, um, yeah, the Blue Jays, man, they just can rake, and their pitching's coming along really well as well. So you add those two together, and it's a good recipe in a sense.
Yeah. I didn't think they were going anywhere. It's just, the first weekend, it's like, yep, they are. They are the
Yeah,
Toronto Blue Jays. They are the defending American League champions. So we'll
yeah,
see how that goes. Those are some of the pitchers that dominated, mostly all Blue Jays, but there are a couple other names that I was surprised to see struggle.
yeah.
Uh, did you ever think you'd see Paul Skeens not make it out of a first inning, Ben? Paul
I
Skeens, the guy that's
I
shattering
think
all these
I think
records,
because
that's
I've watched
crushing it at the
enough.
World Baseball Classic.
I think because I've watched enough rookies in the MLB. I think I knew there would be a moment where he just didn't have his stuff, and I didn't think it was be this soon, but I did think it was going to happen.
Not, you could argue not entirely his fault because a gentleman you mentioned earlier by the name of O'Neal Cruz was out in center field and very badly misjudged a couple fly balls. But
That is true.
at the same time, you got to give that Mets lineup, which is revamped with guys like Luis Robert who crushed it this weekend, and Bo Bichette and Marcus Semien and Jorge Polanco. There's a lot of pop in this Mets lineup, and they were teeing off on him. You still got to make those routine defensive plays, but a lot of those runs went down as earned because of
Yeah,
the way that the rules work. But yeah, Skeens was one that got tagged. Logan Webb also in that first game against the Yankees on Netflix. Getting into the streaming service
yeah,
discussions, and I don't know how many people actually got to watch that one, but it was a pretty one-sided game. Yankees won, I think, 7-0, and part of that was because Max Fried crushed it, but Logan Webb
hmm
uh, got dominated in that one. Trying to think of who else. Oh, Padres. I've had a lot of questions about their rotation. And Nick Pivetta was one of those guys that they were going to be counting on. He also got tagged too. I think he actually has the highest qualifying ERA at I think it's 18 right now. So if you're a Padres fan, you got that insane bullpen, but how
yeah,
many leads are you going to be handing them over? We saw I watched it was the Tigers, and this wasn't necessarily because of bad starting pitching. It was actually a really fun matchup between Michael King and Framber Valdez, but Padres bullpen gets the game handed to them. I think it was 2-1, and credit to the Tigers offense. They, teed off on it and ended up getting the win. But back to the original point, starting pitchers got to be giving your bullpen a lead if you're gonna, be counting on the bullpen to get you all those wins and hold all those leads and get you all those
yeah,
because that's a tough division. San Francisco, I think, made some nice additions. Uh, the Dodgers, of course, are the Dodgers,
yeah.
and the Padres could be that third place team on the outside looking in from the playoffs because of some of the guys that they lost. So let's see. I was there any
Yes.
other?
No, I think that was it for baseball. I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
we covered a lot there.
there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of things that we could get into. Go ahead and drop in the comments. Uh, who's going to finish with more hits, Sal Stewart or Chase DeLauter?
Oh, I like that one.
We
Specific
went
to
we
the
went with
point.
a Reds Cleveland theme last week with who's going to win more games, but seeing as how these rookies have crushed it, who's going to hit finish with more hits? We'll just go
Yeah.
hits. Chase DeLauter or Sal Stewart. So we'll go ahead and switch gears now and get into the men's basketball tournament. We got the Final Four happening this weekend, Ben. On Saturday, it will be Michigan and Arizona, correct? Facing
Yes.
off.
Yes.
And then we'll have UConn and is it Illinois
It
are the
is Illinois.
matchups?
It is Illinois.
Yeah, so bracket perspective here. I got 12 of the Sweet 16 right. I got four of the
I stopped
Elite Eight
caring.
right. I got two of the Final Four. My champion is still alive. So
I have three
Ill-
in the Final Four.
three in the Final Four. I was going to say it's not my greatest bracket, but it's one that I can be proud of. You got three of the Final Four though,
Yes,
right? And
sir.
which was the only one that you missed on?
Arizona. I had Purdue, I believe. I think when I did mine.
Mm. Yeah,
I think
Arizona
that.
was that team that I was like, man, they always seem to choke early. I also misspoke. I said that I got Tennessee going further in my bracket than what they typically do, but they made their third straight Elite Eight. So I was either thinking of someone else or the football program was jargon my or messing up
Yeah.
my memory of the basketball team. But either way, Final Four, Michigan, Arizona, Illinois, UConn. I want to talk about UConn because they've seemed like a team that just is. I don't know if it's quite of destiny, but they found themselves in a lot of close games, able to close them out really well. And you saw that with Michigan State. But then this Duke game, Ben, and we can open this up to the a bigger conversation about Duke even too if you want. But Duke has a 19-point lead. Uh, and the Duke whistle was real, man. You go through every single game and look at the box score. It's like three, sometimes four times the amount of free throws Duke is getting. And even in the UConn game, they still finished with more than UConn. It might have even been a further discrepancy had UConn not reached the bonus. But either way, UConn completes the comeback, forces a turnover on an inbounds possession from Duke, and gets a game-winning three to send them
Yeah.
to the Final Four. You know, this is a spot that Dan Hurley's been in. I know people have been talking about him mugging the ref at the end and how that would be a technical foul 10 times out of 10 in the regular season. And I'm okay that they didn't call that right there,
Yeah.
but that was maybe the game of the tournament so far, honestly, was the Duke UConn matchup. And UConn finds himself in the Final Four, a very familiar spot this program has been in the last, four seasons, I think it's been. I think this is their third Final Four trip in 4 years, if I remember right. But yeah,
Yes.
I just want to start the conversation with UConn right there and how they've gotten here.
Yeah, I love it. I'm excited for this matchup. I think Illinois very underrated all year. I think they've just played really well, and they have a lot of foreign guys, guys that have played, professionally in Europe. And so for me, I just think Illinois is good, and they just have to take care of business, right? But yeah, I mean, I picked UConn for a reason. I believe in Hurley. I believe in what he's doing there. And they've got something going, and it's unfortunately that women's and men's basketball is getting run by UConn right now. So for me, yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and give you my prediction for this game since we're kind of on the topic.
Hmm.
For me, I have UConn win this game. I think UConn is going to win. I like Illinois, but part of it's because I want my bracket to do well. But also, I think generally, I think UConn just has a little bit more. They're going to be more prepared, I guess, for this game. I feel like just they've been through a lot already. They've seen everything. And again, Illinois is not necessarily not had to struggle, but they've had a pretty clean way through. And so for me, I'm going to pick UConn. I'm going to pick them. I'm going to go 66 to mm, 50, 66 to 59.
I definitely could see a lower scoring game because you look through Illinois' games up to this point, and most recently they beat Iowa 71 to 59. They beat Houston 65 to 55. Even VCU 11 seed is 76 to 55.
Mm,
There's not a ton of points in this game. I think UConn's been a little bit more tested too, and to your point there, uh, the one really good team that Illinois did play was Houston, and a lot of people rightfully picked them to get to the Final Four, but Illinois held them to 34% shooting, going 22 of 64 in that game. Uh, what else was here? Only five turnovers from Houston, but just didn't shoot the ball that well. Uh, and you go through the Illinois squad, and like you said, the experience there, their program might have figured out a new way to, I guess, do what they're doing in college football with getting like the fifth year and sixth year guys, like find some guys
mhm.
that have actually played
Yeah.
pro ball, but are still kind of around the college age. I'm going with UConn too. I initially had them in the national championship game. Also, I still like that pick. With the Michigan State game and the Duke game, they've been a little bit more tested. They've also found themselves in these crunch time situations where the moment just isn't too big for them to handle.
Yeah.
So, all that said, I am going UConn on that side. I don't think it'll be a lot of points, though. I think that if either team wins, it's going to be like the winner's probably going to score in the 70s. I'll go UConn 73 and Illinois 66. I,
Love it.
yeah, I think it will be
Not
a close game.
not 67 points. 67.
Not
I'm sorry.
67 points, no.
By the way, that is the Reds, by the way, Eugenio Suarez. That's what he does now when he gets a home run. He goes like this to every kid. I just like, oh my goodness, it's like a child. Um, yeah, so that's gonna be an interesting game. And then the second game, for me, it's interesting. Um, I
Michigan,
think,
Arizona,
yeah, I
man.
think Arizona is probably the best offense right now in the country, and I think Michigan probably has a top tier offense and also a really, really good defense. Um, but bias, some might say it's biased. It's not bias. But I do think Arizona, the way they're playing right now, and we have never seen them be this talented this late. Um, I think Arizona pulls it out and they go to the national title versus UConn.
Go ahead and read Michigan's path here first. These are both one seeds, so obviously they're going to have a much easier start than finish to get to the Final Four. But you open up with a 21 point over Howard. You open up with 23-point win over St. Louis, a 9 seed. Then you get to, some of them SEC powerhouses, right? You face number 4 Alabama, and you beat them 90-77. And you face Tennessee, who's making a
Yeah,
nice set of their third straight Elite Eight, and you crush them 95-62. Just embarrass them. Make it look like they don't even belong. Like,
yeah.
that only will add fuel to the Big Ten SEC discussion. But going over to the Arizona
Should
side,
there be discussion? No.
it still is Michigan's a 1 and like Alabama's a 4, but
Yeah,
still. Uh, Over on the Arizona side, their path to get here exactly the same pretty much. They open up against 16, win 92-58. They play 9 and go 78-66. Arkansas was the Final Four team I had picked out of this region, and it just never really looked like they had a shot. Arizona jumped to an early lead and pretty much maintained it the whole time, and they won 109-88 in that one. And then Purdue, who made a nice run in the Big Ten tournament to earn themselves a 2 seed and was playing pretty good ball. They ended up beating them 79-64, holding Purdue to 64 points. The defense in that one held them. I mean, Arizona didn't shoot the ball terrible. It was 47% from the
hmm,
field, 91% from the free throw line, and they only had 6 turnovers. Or excuse me, I'm reading the Arizona stats. Purdue is who I want to read over here. Purdue shot 38% from the field, uh, and then also had 11 turnovers in this one. So the Arizona defense came out and took care of business in this one. So you got Arizona, you got Michigan, two of the best offense in the country, but we have seen them both play some pretty good defense lately. Also, Michigan was my national championship pick, and of course, I'm going to still stick with that.
way to stick behind your pick. Good job.
Yeah. I'm also remembering right now as I say that UConn was not my team that I picked to go to the championship from
No,
the
they
other
weren't.
side. It was Florida, but they were beating UConn to get there. I'm going with UConn over there, like I said. Though over here, I'm sticking with Michigan. I just love the top 10 offense with the top defense combo. But like I say, Arizona's playing ball basically just like Michigan is right now. So this
Yeah,
one, it's tough to say when you got two good defenses how the scoring is going to go in this one. I would lean 80s in this one from both
yeah.
sides. Michigan 84, Arizona 80.
I love it. I
There's going
love
to be
it.
some missed free throws at the end. They're going to
Yeah.
cost Arizona.
Do we want to finish the show by giving a, final prediction there?
Yeah, we will not have a show before the actual national
No.
championship comes about. So my Michigan UConn national championship game will result in a Michigan victory of 79-70.
I'm going to say my Yukon versus Arizona will be. I'm going to stick with my pick because I am a true bracket buster person, and I'm going to say that Yukon wins. I'm going to go 70. I'm going to go 84 to 80. No, I'm going to go 84-82. And I'm going to think Arizona. I think it's going to be a tight game all the way to finish, but I think have been there and done that. They're going to come out on top and bring home a third trophy in 4 years.
If that is the case, Ben, where does Dan Hurley rank on the greatest
I
basketball
mean,
coaches of all time
I heard
list?
someone's Jay. I think Jay Williams said it the best. He's the modern day Coach K. I think you have to put him up there. I think his firiness. He's kind of got that that Bob Knight kind of firiness mixed with a Coach K firiness, but mixed with a calmness as well. Um, yeah, he's up there, man.
It's just like you run through and it's like, okay, anyone's top 10 list is probably going to include in some order
Coach K,
John Wooden, Coach K, Bob Knight, Dean Smith.
Bayheim.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the great coaches that we grew up watching only have a couple titles, and I mean
Yeah.
that's the case for Roy Williams from North Carolina. We saw Coach K. I think Duke has 5 national championships, and I don't know how many of those are his, but
Hmm.
obviously Bob Knight's, one of the greatest to ever do it. John Wooden, I think, has the most national championships, and that'll
Yeah.
probably never get touched. But Dan Hurley comes in here, and in a very short career, relatively speaking, all these guys comes out and wins 3 natties in 4 years. It's like, man, I don't know. He'd have to be top 10. I don't know where at in the top 10, but
Yeah.
man, you got to
I
put
would
him
say he's
there.
probably top 8 for me for sure. Like
Yeah.
I would have Coach K above him, Coach Smith, Coach Wooden, Bob Knight. I would even have above him. Bayheim I'd have up there. Um, trying to think of
There's
some.
also probably
Oh,
a couple other
Coach
names that I'm missing.
Gene Cady from Purdue, who was there for like 60 years. He's probably up there as well. So there's quite a few guys, but I do think he cuts in the top 8 for sure, top 10
Yeah,
for sure.
got to be.
Um, so, anyways, I don't know what our plan. I know our plans coming up was we're going to have a final mock draft before the actual draft. Probably not
Not
next
next week.
week.
Next week we'll be talking about the way the
No.
tournament ended, maybe a
Yeah.
couple more baseball things, and then we'll get into maybe
Yes.
the week
Exactly.
after that. Sounds
Yeah.
pretty good.
So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout also for just updates from different sports. Obviously, you're going to have the World Cup's going to be happening here in the summer. I'm sure that's going to be fun to talk about. Obviously, updates from other things, other sports. You know, the Blue Jackets, how they've just come out of nowhere and is now in the playoff picture after being like sunken ship. So there's a lot of things that we will be looking at. NBA playoffs will be coming around, what the Cavs are doing, all those different things. So please stay tuned. Those things will be covered. Don't worry. We roll the machine as we go. So, anyways, I hope you guys have really enjoyed this episode. If you've enjoyed watching, go click that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you love listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, then let us know. Share it with your friends and family. So, once again, we just want to say thanks for listening. Thanks for hearing our two idiotic thought processes sometimes. But hey, it's our thoughts, our opinions. Deal with it. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Happy Easter once again from here at the Baseline Podcast. And until next time, we'll see ya.